Good day, nerds, and welcome to episode 98 of the Nerd Cantina Show. I'm your host, Ken, joined by my co-host, Steve, and we're going to cover this week's nerd news. We're going to begin in entertainment talk and highlight the fact that theaters are reopening again. And then we're going to move over into some gaming talk with the Series X release date, Halo Infinite delays, and then this craziness with Fortnite getting banned from mobile platforms. And then in tech space, there's a new lawsuit against Facebook. Starlink data tests are starting to show huge speeds. And another Chinese company is being sued for alleged fraud. A lot to get to. Let's get started.
Calling back all nerds.
Nerds!
All right, and welcome back to episode 98 of the Nerd Cantina Show. And this is a big momentous week as we are now getting closer and closer to maybe real life. I know you were excited about the news coming around AMC this week.
Yeah, I actually reactivated my A-list, so I'm going to start getting billed again for my movies. It's got my app kind of reconfigured to give me the open slots for my reservations. Still no movie times at the theater. I'm hoping that changes this week with them doing the 15-cent movie tickets on Friday for whatever old-ass movie they're going to show for that. So I'm hoping we get some movie times. I can reserve my New Mutants ticket, my Mulan ticket. I haven't wrote anything for the website in a long time. I've been meaning to try to do some like streaming reviews. I just couldn't find the motivation with how much I've been working lately and just the lack of just COVID sucking the life out of everything. So I'm excited to try to get back in the swing of things.
I mean, there were some movies on there's that Netflix movie with Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I just watched that Shia LaBeouf movie, The Tax Collector. Yeah.
That was fucking misleading as shit. That was misleading as shit. If you expect, like, minor spoilers, I guess, but if you expect to see Shia LaBeouf be a badass at all in that movie, fucking skip. Fucking skip.
See, this is why you gotta write reviews.
They hyped that dude up so much in the fucking trailer, and I watched that movie, and I was utterly disappointed. They made him seem like some cholo John Wick, and fucking this dude, man, so disappointed. So disappointed.
Is it the one that he got like real tattoos on his chest and everything
I don't
else?
know, maybe. I don't know why he wore a suit the entire fucking movie. If he did, like, it wouldn't make sense because I didn't even see a tattoo in the entire movie.
See, this is why you got to get on the reviews.
I know. I'm failing. Sorry, Cantina guys. I really do need. I've been meaning to write a review for that Defending Jacob show on Apple, even though it came out like 2 months ago. But I don't think anybody's watching it, and I'm telling y'all need to watch that fucking show. It's so fucking good.
I just need to buckle down and pay for Apple for a month.
$5, bro. I'll send you for Cash App. $5. I'll Cash App that shit.
I just finished Umbrella Academy season 2. That took me a while to get through, but I was a big fan of that season. Better than the first season, I thought. But it was entertaining.
I don't know.
I mean, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole, but
it felt like too much of the same.
Maybe I like the weirdness of this season. As far as
I like the weirdness of the show. Didn't progress anything of their like backstories. Like it didn't progress anything like that. Had pretty much the same enemy. Like it was like, hey, season 1, but in 1968. Did you want to see season 1 in hippie clothes? Welcome to season 2. That's what it felt like.
Yeah. Other than that, there's that man, I can't remember the name of it. Excuse me, that Power movie with Jamie Foxx. I do want to see that. It seems entertaining.
One of the Cantina members tagged me in the post of that movie. I told him I'd watch it after I watched that Shia LaBeouf movie. I coin flip on which bad movie I watched first, and I lost.
But anyway, back to the news. You mentioned the AMC 15-cent ticket thing. Just in case anybody wasn't paying attention, but there were articles coming around that AMC, so in 1920, AMC opened, so this is their 100-year anniversary, so they're offering 15-cent tickets because they want to offer 2020 movies at a 1920 price.
I thought they were doing it for ticket prices the same as the first pandemic. We're going to go with Spanish flu prices for COVID-19. Welcome back to the theater.
No, I think what they're going to do is they're just doing this because they know that they still like, the people who are reluctant to go to the theaters, they're just going to get the cheap people like me who might not have gone to the theater because I don't need to spend $15 to be exposed to COVID, but 15 cents, I might go expose myself to COVID. And then all of a sudden you're going to start getting text messages from them being like, well, you've already broken your bubble. So why don't you come this week to see Mulan? And why don't you come this week to see Tenet? As they're just going to encourage to get as many people. Come on,
you asymptomatic motherfucker. Come see another movie.
You already risked it for 15 cents. So why don't you risk it for Tenet? Let's do this.
There's a few of us COVID brave Cantina members. I think we're going to try to get a small Cantina group to go see Tenet together. We might socially distance and go see that. I walked into a fucking smokeout barbecue thing this weekend that a few of my friends were having. They had a DJ and it was supposed to be this like outdoor smokeout barbecue, and we walked in and it was literally no fucks given COVID-19, boy. Like there was no masking and socially distancing at all. And I'm not one afraid of the virus that much, but even me sitting in there, I was just like, I don't feel too safe.
I don't want to be on the evening news.
Yeah, I don't feel too safe. We dipped out of there pretty quick. The music's great, but this is not what we were expecting. We were expecting like an outdoor tent with like a big smoker and like massively distanced tables in like a parking lot, and it was like, no, assholes to elbows inside. Like, no thanks. So at this point, the movie theater, man, yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I probably won't be going to the theater, but maybe I'll do the Disney Plus on demand thing for Mulan or something like that. It's a high price, but that.
No, I'm looking forward to New Mutants, and man, Tenet in 2 weeks or 3 weeks now. That's the one we're going to try to get a group for. I think is we are all going to try to go see Tenet.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be a movie worth going and seeing for sure. And
I just don't know how fast these tickets are going to sell out. They're only doing 30% capacity, but from the amount, like, it blows my mind that it's still really easy for me to get a dinner reservation at places. And when I go to these restaurants to go have a dinner, there's nobody in the restaurant. And I look around like, damn, motherfuckers really afraid of this virus. Like, there's a large portion of people in the population that are just really either only doing outdoor or not doing shit at all. Because some of my favorite, most popular restaurants still, like, man, you want a 6 o'clock reservation? They got an opening, and I walk in and they got all the tables blocked off, so they're doing really social distancing very well. But you would imagine a restaurant that was jam-packed prior to COVID would have some kind of, booking, limitations by, during a pandemic where you can only be at 30%, and they're still opening. So I don't know. I don't know how the theater's going to do. I think I might be able to get tickets. I might not. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out real soon. But maybe that's just because everybody's sitting at home playing their video games and waiting for the next gen consoles here as we get our first taste of news with the Series X, like actual confirmations of what everybody's already assumed that there was going to be a Series X released for the holiday season. And we get a confirmed release date from Xbox.
Was it actually confirmed or just leaked?
So I thought that they
confirmed it after it released.
Confirmed, yeah, the release date just for the Series X, and then after they made that announcement, they talked about other games because they released information about the fact that they were going to have, I think it was 50 games releasing in 2020, cross-platform between Series X and Xbox One, but 50 games that are made for Series X by the end of 2020. We also got that the news articles and the delays about Halo Infinite getting pushed back to 2021.
Well, also, so Monster, the energy drink, might have given away the price point. So they announced a contest where they were giving out like I can't remember the numbers offhand, but it was like, we're giving out away, $127,000 worth of Xbox Series X prizes, and they gave out the amount, like 150 Xbox Series X's. And it's like, if you did the math between the value of the prize value that they stated
and how many
they're giving away, the price point comes up to $59.99, $599.99 all day. Like, so everyone's just like, good job, Monster. Like, you probably just leaked the price point. So everyone's speculating that the $599.99 one was to come with Halo Infinite, and considering Infinite's not coming with the console, they think that it's going to either be $599.99 or $549.99 without the game. So, good job,
Infinite's
Monster.
not coming out with. Infinite's not coming anymore with with Series X. I mean, it was a big blow for Microsoft, for Xbox to push back this Halo Infinite. That was supposed to be their linchpin going into this whole reveal, this whole launch. I mean, I think it's good that they pushed it back. It's much better than obviously their big game.
It's starting to get kind of annoying with video game developers. So, how much percentage of the game needs to be developed before you are able to say we're coming out on this day? Because they push back Last of Us 2 how many times? They're pushing back Cyberpunk 2077 how many times? Now Halo Infinite gets pushed back. Like, don't give us a fucking date until the game is like damn near ready and it's going to release on this fucking date.
Yeah, but that's probably less though the game developers than it is the Xboxes and PlayStations and those people trying to push like their holiday release schedules and trying to generate hype and going into E3 and going into all of these.
No, this has to do with
like, hey, we need
with the Halo grunt memes that are going around after they released that gameplay footage, and the grunt looked like a fucking. I don't even know what kind of joke I can make about that piece of shit. Like so. This is like a Sonic the Hedgehog thing. They released a still of the game. Internet shit on it. Now, hey, back to the drawing board. Don't worry, we're gonna fix it. We're not putting this out. We're gonna fix it. So I think this has totally to do with development, because they wanted this because Halo releasing with the system is like an Xbox tradition.
Yeah, and I mean the delays are definitely on the developer, and they've admitted it. Talked about they hit significant issues and delays, to include COVID-relating delays, being shut down and not being able to at the time it took to transition during COVID. So I mean, it's reasonable. It's better than them releasing a game that's not ready.
Oh, all day. But I don't need the date. Like, just give us like a window rather than like.
They haven't given you a date. They've given you 2021. So I mean, at this point,
so now they
give
give us a year. But like for a long time, it was releasing with launch, and I think it's too much bad press every time they have to push it back. Because it just gets people's hopes up, and then it builds up anticipation. Every time you push it back, it just puts frustration into the gamers and builds up that anticipation even more, to where if it isn't a stellar game, the fallout of that is just going to be even greater than previously if you hadn't pushed it back, I think.
Just looking to see what in the end the game looks like, what it comes out. But I mean, for me, I wasn't getting a Series X right away anyway, so just keep sliding it. Who cares? I love the Halo games. I want to play Halo Infinite. I just probably won't.
I keep checking my emails and the websites to see if I could pre-order that motherfucker every day. I'm not trying to get left out in the rain.
Well, let's move on to other game news and
some phone gaming.
Yeah, mobile gaming. Fortnite. I mean, what they did in getting banned by both the Google Play Store and Apple's App Store is, I mean, it's complete shots fired at Apple and Google. It was 100% intentional. So at first, you start to get articles that, hey, Fortnite is no longer available on the App Store over on Apple. And then I think it was a day, maybe 2 days later, that it's then pulled from the Google Play Store, just because Android is superior. You can still download the game through third-party services and sideload the app. You just can't get it through the App Store anymore. But if you were a mobile gamer on Fortnite, which there are millions who are,
I guess so.
you just can't access the game anymore. And at first it seemed like, okay, hey, what the hell happened here? Fortnite just got banned. This is ridiculous. But then you quickly see the fact that within 24 hours of getting banned, there was a 65-page lawsuit filed against Apple and their monopolistic behaviors. They launch the YouTube commercial. They made a YouTube commercial that's official Fortnite YouTube commercial that is using like the original Fortnite skins, and it's shot for shot the trailer from the old 1984, where the big head on the screen is a talking apple with a bite out of it, and the people revolting.
I love it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big fight that app developers have been trying to fight for a long time, in the sense that Apple, you have no choice but to be on Apple's App Store. You have virtually no choice in Google, although Google's probably not going to get tied up in the same lawsuit because you still can sideload apps. You can use the Amazon App Store on an Android phone, Android phones. There's other app stores you can use. Apple's different. You can only use the App Store. And so if you're a game developer, then you have to pay Apple there's significant fees up front. And then you also, any transaction that is processed through the App Store gets a 30% Apple tax. And that's significant. So what Fortnite did was in this last update that they put into their game last week, was they created a separate paywall. So when you went to go pay for V-Bucks, it gave you an option. You could pay $9.99 for these 1,000 V-Bucks through your Apple App Store, or you can click this button to get redirected to our web page and pay $7.99 for the same amount. And that violates Apple's terms of service. Fortnite knew it, and they were waiting for this ban hammer to come from Apple. They got it, and they filed their lawsuit immediately.
I mean, essentially, it's Apple putting a tax on their product. It's some street hustle type shit done in the tech world. I'm gonna take this product and I'm gonna sell it I'm gonna do nothing to it. I'm gonna put no effort into it. I'm just going to charge you a fee for using our platform. Like it's a weird kind of like thing with the digital space, because essentially Apple has to do nothing and they're making $3 a transaction.
Right. I mean, and there's probably there's probably some server space and issues when we talk about this. It's not a nothing arrangement, and Apple does deserve some of that cut, along the way, right? People started doing this, long ago.
Then why not charge people $3 to download free apps then?
So, and remember, that's what it used to be. It used to be, hey, Apple got their cut when people paid for the app. But then more and more free apps came out that had the upcharge, hey, like, oh, it's a free app, but then we're going to get you on the back end, in-game purchases or premium purchase later. And then Apple had less of a cut of that. So then they changed their model and said, like, okay, we get what you guys are all doing, working around us. You're never going to work around us. And this 30% of all purchases that comes through it's tough on developers, and it even like affects weird things. I was reading about the fact that like even if you're watching the YouTube app through Apple, there's I think it's called YouTube Parties or something like that. But there's a way to watch like live streams for people on YouTube and to like contribute to people, almost like a Patreon model, giving them tips through YouTube. Well, Apple's even taken 30% of that. So like if you want to contribute to somebody and donate money to somebody directly through Apple, they're still getting their cut.
Yeah, this is borderline like mafia shit to me. If like, cause so Apple, their main goal is to keep your eyes on the Apple phone or, the iPhone. So like by Fortnite creating a good product that keeps people engaged and on the phone, Apple's benefit, there isn't a benefit to Apple that doesn't cost them money and doesn't, you know what I mean? Like
I disagree with that. Apple is not in the business of attention. That's they don't really monetize people's attention that way. They just, they monetize through the device, and then the App Store is a huge moneymaker for them. But they don't really care where you're putting your attention or how much time you're on your phone. They want you just spending money on your phone. They want you buying the new phone and maintaining this culture and hype around their devices. But they're not Facebook. They don't get paid by attention.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I see both sides. You know what I mean? Like, I see both sides. Like, you, as a product developer, you oftentimes have to give a cut when you go to retail. So if you make jeans and you sell your jeans online on your own jean store, the minute you want to put your jeans in like Kohl's or Target, you got to give them at a better price to Kohl's and Target, so Kohl's and Target could put them at a competitive price and make profit. So the minute you go that large and you scale to where you want to go retail and not wholesale, you have to take a profit cut, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is kind of essentially the same thing. So I see both sides, but at the same time, Apple has no overhead when it comes to this stuff. So like Kohl's argument is, look, we have a brick and mortar store. We have to put it on the rack. We have to pre-buy all this product. Like we have to buy 50,000 jeans to put on the shelves from you. Like we deserve this discount. Apple don't have to do shit. There's no brick and mortar. There's no overhead involved in them having to sell those V-Bucks. So what is their justification for putting such a high tax on it? You want to make 99 cents? You want to make 99 cents? Okay. $3 fucking bucks, 30%? Yeah, that's some fucking some extortion, if you ask me.
That's what I'm really curious to see what the end goal for like Fortnite for Epic Games is on this, right? Epic Games, are they trying to make it to where they can have their own marketplace and they don't have to give anything to Apple? Are they just trying to get Apple to, in good faith, negotiate that down from 30%? Because I'd be interested to see what the deal is with like Xbox and PlayStation, because essentially it's the same thing. You can't play the game without Xbox, like you can't play the game without a medium, you can play it on PC and shit. But, for this sake, let's compare it to PlayStation and Xbox. So are Xbox and PlayStation doing the same thing? On like the in-game purchases?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'd be curious. And to some degree, like I said, I think the companies do deserve a cut. They deserve something. You're playing through their platform. They have to monetize that some way.
Something I can agree with something, but 30% feels a little bit like extortion.
Yeah, and I think in the end, Fortnite has a good chance of winning, just because unlike Google, you have no choice but to go through the App Store. There's other ways around it on the Google phones, on Android phones. So I think there's less of a lawsuit there when you're just going to claim like, hey, complete monopolistic, uncompetitive behavior. Apple absolutely doesn't allow competition through their devices. You cannot.
They're ruthless.
You talk about having to, selling through your own website or selling through Kohl's. Well, like this is where your ability to even have your own website or your own marketplace that you can maybe get a handful of customers to come to directly, that doesn't exist. You can't have your own marketplace. You can only go to Kohl's. Yeah, Apple. So I think they have a good chance of winning. And obviously, they think they have a good chance of winning. Obviously, they're paying some significant fees and lawyers or whatever else. And
I wonder where antitrust laws fall into this. Where, this is. I don't know. I'm interested. Let's see how it goes. Like. I'm always rooting for the developer, the people who really put the work in to provide the product, not a multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar company that really doesn't have to do shit but throw a tax on something because they're a behemoth, So I'm kind of rooting for Epic. I do think Apple deserves maybe a little something, but like, man, it seems a little excessive.
Yeah, I am curious to see where this goes. So we'll pay attention to it, and I'm sure here in the next couple months or whenever this starts to actually materialize, I hope it's not a settlement that they do. I hope it's not something behind closed doors and it just disappears. In the end, I think Fortnite is attempting to fight the good fight for all game developers and for future games. So I don't think they're looking for just, hey, let's work something out on the side. I think they're trying to get Apple to change their terms for good. So we'll pay attention. We'll let everybody know. But one last story while we're still here in video games, and we could talk about some recent studies this last week came out talking about mental health and video games and the benefits around video games, specifically inside this COVID timeframe. But anytime there's been some recent articles, and it all kind of highlights the fact that, you go back a decade ago and every article you could find about video games was about the damage it could cause and everything else. And I think that's just because that was, old researchers putting their bias into the research. And now what we get is people our age doing the research who grew up on video games, and now they're trying to gain some truth to it.
Yeah, the old studies came from that, the devil makes rock music generation.
Yeah.
And we've had people on like Dr. Rachel Cowart that also kind of subscribe to this same mentality in a previous Cantina conversation. So this is just another study that backs up her findings and her opinions. How could you really got to not know much about video games to have a differing kind of opinion, and especially during a pandemic where people are locked up, being antisocial, no human contact. When you're able to give people a medium where they can do team building games, you can communicate with the people you care about and you enjoy being around. It's not the same, but it's at least something, and we're starting to get all kinds of studies coming out of COVID now because it's been months and they're able to quantify these things on a kind of quarter year scale now. The amount of, I want to say they said the amount of suicide hotline calls went up 10-fold during the pandemic. The amount of people that called the suicide hotline, so having something like this, yeah, of course, it's great for mental health. I don't game as much as I used to. I'm getting old, and the kids soak up the TV, and I don't get very much time. By the time I have the free television, it's like 10:30 at night, and I can barely keep my eyes open. I fall asleep with a controller in my hand all the time, like all the time. I'm fucking old as fuck, but I go golfing, and I love golfing for the simple fact that while I'm out on a beautiful golf course and, early in the morning, sun's coming up, it's just a great time to be out and about. And I don't think about anything else other than golfing and hanging out with three of my buddies, so it shuts off the world, it shuts off my brain. I'm not thinking about what construction jobs I'm on, what I need to do here, what calls have I missed, like it all goes away when I'm on that golf course. And for a lot of people, it's the same with video games. You get so engulfed in beating this level, capturing this flag, whatever game you play, whatever you enjoy, you get so into it that the outside world kind of goes away for a little while. And especially during 2020, I think we all need a little bit of that.
Yeah, and I mean the social aspect is really what like this. There's two main findings coming out of this UK study, and this UK study had a fair amount of participants. So they were looking at 5,000 participants, 5,000 kids in this study, ages 11 to 16. So a fairly decent sized study, and they were just a part of it was kind of the COVID aspect and the social aspect of games. And that social aspect, like social interaction, social cooperative interaction is good no matter what, whether that's on a playing in sports or school activities or whatever, but we thrive social interaction, and video game social interaction is just as beneficial. It is a positive thing. It improves emotional well-being for children. And that there's a lot of studies that are coming out that are saying that and supporting that. And I think it's like intuitively, if you just strip away from the fact of like, yes, there's things out there that kids probably shouldn't do on games, and there are bad interactions just like anything else. As a parent, I don't let my kid go to the park with shitty kids. I'm also not going to let them go and play games with shitty people and uncontrolled, unregulated games.
No one here is advocating turn on a video game and put your kid on autopilot.
Yeah.
Like that is not a thing.
Now, the second part of this study that it talks about that video games raise literacy and that it boosts literacy in kids, and it found that out of these 5,000 kids, two out of 5 or 40% of the kids increased their motivation to read. But specifically it says read about games from sources like news sites, whatever else. And this is where it's like, I tend to think, okay, maybe it increases basic literacy. I'll say like, I don't know how to read. I barely read anything. And yeah, was I as a kid able to and sought out gamer magazines and
I had a Nintendo Power subscription,
Nintendo
motherfucker.
Power and walkthroughs of like how do I go ahead and beat levels in Zelda and whatever else when I was a kid? Sure. That didn't make me a reader, though.
Yeah, I know. It's like saying The Legend of Zelda helps kids' cartography skills.
Yeah.
Like, it's like just because I can read a dungeon map to find out where the princess is doesn't mean you could call me Magellan tomorrow, motherfuckers.
Yeah, so I kind of, to me, I think that one's a bit of a stretch. But I guess if we're just, because it doesn't talk about just like literacy. Maybe you could say that like, hey, any kind of reading is going to make you more literate. That's fine. But this talks about like, it makes you a more motivated reader. It's like, no, it just makes me more motivated to beat this fucking level. And if in order to do that, I have to read something, all right, then I'm going to figure this out.
Well, I'll tell you right now that this study's given anime fans a big pat on the back. They're just like, I'm a fucking genius.
I'm the most literate.
Fuck you, dubs. Like if you watch dub anime, you can. This study has nothing to do with you weebs, but fucking us subtitle readers. That's right, man. Anime improving reading skills since 1976.
I'd love to know is there actual anime that started in 1976?
I want to say Cowboy Bebop was 70s or 80s.
Pulled that out your ass.
That's as far back as I can go. I'm sure the Japanese have been making feature cartoons for way before that. I just threw a number out.
Nice.
Fact check me, bro. Fuck you.
All right, but I think that takes us out of entertainment. We actually had entertainment news to talk about this week, and
I know that's exciting. It's
yeah.
exciting.
So we could just quickly get through some tech news, which there really actually wasn't very much new or exciting going on in the world of tech. We can, maybe we should have followed up the Apple one with this one, but we could just talk about another tech monopoly. And the first article in the tech space is just that Facebook could find itself maybe losing $500 billion. That's never going to happen. Nobody will ever find anybody ever $500 billion. But there was a class action lawsuit filed against Facebook about illegally storing biometric data, so facial recognition data through Instagram. So the lawsuit is specifically against Instagram, obviously a company owned by Facebook, and it just claims that they were illegally storing and using facial recognition, which is biometric data, and there is an Illinois Biometric Data Act or BIPA Act, and I don't know why you're not on this class action lawsuit as a Instagram user, and this is specifically using an Illinois statute, and what it claims is, so the Illinois Act states that for every intentional violation of somebody's using somebody's biometric data, that's a $5,000 fine to that person, and $1,000 if you negligently expose or use somebody's biometric data.
Well, I got put onto this because I have a Nest camera. So I have Nest cameras in my house, and I have the doorbell. And one of the features for the Nest cameras is it recognizes people. So when I come home every day, it would scan my face and know that it's me, and it wouldn't give like my girlfriend an alert that somebody was at the front door. It would know I live here, so you get no alert. But then the Amazon guy doesn't recognize his face. It'll say like, you may have had a package delivered.
I can't get that
feature. I can't get that feature in Illinois because Illinois has a law against facial recognition software without permission. So I can't use that face match part of Nest because I'm located in Illinois, and they ban any app from doing facial recognition without the person's consent. So This kind of falls in like that bubble.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Yeah, that's a law I didn't know Illinois had.
So this is in the end, like if you total up the total amount of users on Instagram and you multiply by that $5,000 fine for an intentional violation, that's how they come up with this. Hey, they're getting sued for up to $500 billion. And we all know none of that's ever going to happen. There was a case where Facebook settled for $650 million back in July about misuse of facial recognition data. So in the end, like apparently $650 million is just hush money coming out of Facebook to just settle these things. So, hey, join this class action lawsuit. You might find yourself maybe not getting $500 billion, but hey, maybe a little bit of.
I'm not going to lie, man. I joined that AT&T class action lawsuit where they were capping people's data and slowing people's data down, and I got a check in the mail month or a year later Google's got one going on now that I just got it. If you have a Gmail, I think you can sign up for this thing. So yeah, I'm gonna sign up for all this shit. Whatever. If the government's fining them and handing out small checks to everybody, I'm down. I'll cash that motherfucker. I'm just. It's a little disheartening because like this is where I think capitalism sucks. So can we just get a company that says, hey, we're going to provide you a service and charge you for that service, and that's all we want. We just want the money for this service because we feel that this service has value and you should pay for it. And we're not going to do anything else with your data, your photos, your whatever it is, because we find that to be unethical. And yes, we could make more money, but we don't want to make more money. We want to be an honest company, and we want to provide you the good service that we're providing you at the cost that we can be profitable at. Like, no, that company doesn't exist. It's we want all the monies all the time. Fuck how we get it from you. You fucking rubes, just sign up, click the terms of service, and we're going to take your shit. Like, I just want one company, like to just be like, look, no, we don't need it, man. We don't need it. This is what we provide. This is what it costs. We're happy from there.
There are companies. They're just not free.
Who?
They're just not free.
Who?
Like, I mean, there's membership companies, membership things that are less likely to do any of these, but again,
less likely, but you don't know they're not.
Yeah, that's true. But when it comes to Facebook or whatever else, hey, they're perfectly fine with saying that you didn't pay for a damn thing. Like we are providing you a service, you are providing us nothing, and we will do what we want with it.
No, we are providing you a way to sell ads to our eyeballs so you can be profitable. It is a symbiotic relationship. Yeah, that's how they make money. And I think all of us have come to terms with we're going to see ads in front of our YouTube videos. We're going to see sponsored ads in our Instagram scrolls and Facebook scrolls. I think we've all come to terms with that for having a free service. What we haven't come to terms with, and what I don't think anybody feels comfortable with, is the amount of background metadata and things that they're doing with our pictures, our posts, our conversations that the microphone picks up. These are things that 5 years ago, nobody even knew they were doing it. And then it comes out and like, oh yeah, we're listening to all your shit and we're making money off of it and it's not a big deal. And everyone's like, I don't know, it's kind of a big deal. And you have people like Yang and the DDP for All that are trying to do something about it. But there is a large portion of society that does not feel comfortable with not knowing what goes on after I hit post or upload.
I think it is a double-edged sword because as a business, if one day we wanted to, I don't know, spend money on this podcast thing and go advertise, like we want the ability to go advertise on Facebook and tell Facebook like, no, we don't want to spend money on the internet. We want to spend money you advertising to people who are between the ages of 20 and 40, who like similar pages, who read comic books, who whatever else. And we want to be very selective and do that. The only way we do that is by them having all that data.
Not all that data, some data that we kind of like volunteer when we fill out the bio, which is fine. But what I don't subscribe to is fucking Instagram being able to take a fucking 50 terabyte file of eye widths, eye colors, ear spans, hair color, and sell it to the motherfucking FBI, sell it to the NSA, sell it like this is what none of us have fucking signed up for. That is for sure 100% going on. Sell it to the Russians, like fucking like this is what's going on, and none of us signed up for this shit.
Yeah, well,
the ads I
just
get
not exist on the internet. I mean, that's your only solution.
I know that was Dr. O's exact fucking thing. If you don't want to be part of facial recognition, don't have a face. Yeah. Like I get it.
If you don't want to have metadata, then don't have data. Period. Like no internet presence.
But like to me, that's like the stupid argument of like if you don't like what's going on with cars, then don't drive. Like, yeah, because not driving in the year 2020 is a really fucking effective way to live your life. Like not being a part of the internet. If you have any kind of business, if you're self-employed in any aspect whatsoever, it is not plausible to not be a part of the motherfucking interwebs. Sorry about it.
Yeah.
And because we're at a point in that society where it is an essential part, like they should fall into some kind of realm of like ComEd and NICOR, where it's like, these are essential services to the public. You can't just fucking rape the public and dictate all the terms to the public. The government needs to come in. Somebody needs to come in and just say like, no, because now this is an essential part of society, you have to follow X, Y, and Z guidelines.
It's a really tough space, which is why it's so difficult to regulate. And we'll still be talking about this 5 years from now. There's no solution looming on the horizon that's an easy fix.
I wish I could bump into Tom one day and just give him a hug and say, I miss you, man. Like, I miss my top 8 friends and having music play on my wall. Life was so much easier then.
We can just move through some of these other tech topics here. One of them being this Starlink finally gets some data coming out. Their beta has been active. I'm upset I wasn't selected for it as I signed up to be a beta tester for Starlink. But Starlink's internet speeds are coming out with these kind of major metropolitan areas getting tested, and the download speeds are impressive for Starlink. So 11 megabytes per second to 60 megabytes per second is really what they're finding. That's on par or faster than like the actual landline service providers in some of these cities like LA. They're right on par with what is broadband internet now.
Yeah, but it's still shitty broadband internet. I'm so like, when you talk about America's broadband speeds, like we compare it against other American broadband speeds, which are complete shit compared to the rest of the world. So let's just put that out there right now. Like, okay, yeah, 60 megabytes per second is on par with most internet service providers in the United States. Internet providers in the United States suck balls. Huge, hairy goat balls. And if you go to any other developed country, they have way better speeds at a way cheaper premium. You know, you have countries and even some towns in the United States that are municipality fed, so they're built into your property taxes. They're getting 150 megs per second. You know, I pay extra money to Comcast. I have 450 at my house. I have 450 megs. There are people all over this country that are paying money for gig speed. You know, a whole gigabyte per second. So
yeah.
Like, I don't. You know, I appreciate what Elon's doing, bringing the internet to the globe, but like, let's not act like 60 is this fucking huge fucking speed. You know, Stadia said they need 35 to game in 4K. So,
yeah.
You know, this is providing, I guess, like the best minimum standard. You know, so like if you have only dial up because you live in bumfuck, you know, West Virginia or something, this is a great option for you. But for me, someone that lives in a major metropolitan area that has access to all kinds of speeds, like, 60 don't impress me.
To me, it is impressive. It's just because of its reach, right? And that's the benefit of satellite internet. It's never going to have the same high end as actual wired connections anywhere, but this is a functioning broadband capacity for rural areas. I don't know what for
cell
other
phone
countries.
Towers give you. What speed cell phone towers give your phone? So like, what's 4G?
No,
you know, because that's kind of what you can compare it to, is like something through the air that everybody has access to. So that's kind of like the baseline I think that we should be comparing it to, is because it comes from satellites. It's accessible to everybody everywhere, just like your cell phone internet. So to compare it to landlines, I don't think is very fair, because they are not doing it through a landline. You know, so if you want to compare apples to apples, like, yeah, AT&T, Comcast, all these people that are using fiber optics, you know, Google Fiber, like, these are all comparative because they're all using a physical medium to transmit that data. Well, the only other companies that are transmitting data completely through the air are cell phone companies. So I think that's a good way to kind of market it and base your comparisons off of.
Yeah, and I you know, quick search, I'd have to dig around more, but I think average speeds are, from what I'm seeing, is like 5 to 12 megabytes per second for 4G, and then 5G was going to eclipse that terribly by a long shot if 5G
And turn
ever
us all into lizard
happens.
people.
Yeah, and that too. But you'll have fast internet, so who cares?
But do you see like what I mean? Like, yeah, I just don't think comparing it to landlines is a fair comparison to Elon, because what Elon's doing is more revolutionary than just competing with a Comcast.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's designed to bring that rural internet to other countries that don't have the infrastructure, don't have the support. So in the end, I think 60 megabytes per second is pretty impressive. When he's still at a point where.
Yeah, is it going to get faster the more rockets he shoots in the air?
That's what I was going to say. Like right now, his coverage and the total satellites are still
I don't know if that's going to increase
low.
Speed or just increase coverage. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, me neither.
All I know is Starlink needs to go public because I want that stock, son. I want that stock.
Well, we can talk about a stock that you could buy maybe on discount right now. And that's this last article. Last topic for the day is there's a company that is referred to as like China's Netflix. I don't know how to say it, but IQIYI is the name of the company, and it's considered the Netflix of China. It does trade on like the NASDAQ stock exchange as IQ, and it fell like 12% the other day because the SEC has opened up, claiming that they're committing some fraud in reporting their numbers or whatever else. It's like a big surprise. The Chinese big surprise here.
Yeah.
A Chinese version of Netflix is misrepresenting and stating that they have 60% more subscribers and users than they actually have.
It's good to have another Fuck China segment.
Big surprise here. But that's the interesting thing. As you see with just about any company coming from there, we're on the heels still of like this TikTok ban. We've got the Donald Trump signed up for and made a video on TikTok's competitor, which right now I can't even remember.
Well, Instagram's coming out with something to compete with TikTok, YouTube, like all these American tech companies are really trying to find a way to roll out a product comparative to TikTok while we talk about this ban or eventually shutting them down.
Triller. Have you heard of Triller?
No.
So apparently that's like a TikTok competitor that the president just signed up for and now has like a verified presidential account on Triller, and his first video had like 1.2 million views. So he not only did he ban TikTok, but then he went and immediately got a verified account on the only like viable competitor right now. I love it. That's a good way to go about it. Just to demonstrate to the world, like, we don't need TikTok. And I'm good with it. We don't need TikTok in the US. Get rid of it.
If he didn't do a dance, then I'm not for it. I don't need to see it. I want to see Trump's hair flapping while he does the Millie Wop.
I want to see the video. I've only seen a headline, but in the headline it says that like it was a 15-second video on Triller, and on there he talks about how he is a professional at technology and nobody does it like me. And so like I do kind of want to see it. Like I'll make him 1.2 plus 1 view because I do want to watch this.
Oh my God! Nobody knows tech bigger than me. Like it is. Oh man, that's great. We only had a giant congressional hearing with all the leaders in tech. I don't recall him being sitting down in on that.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to be an interesting world that we're in with all these Chinese companies and gaining how much scrutiny now they're under and distrust that there is, and I think it's well placed distrust.
Oh yeah,
but the U.S. side is going full attack on them here, whether it's SEC going after this company, the government ban of TikTok. It seems like the full power of the government is going after these Chinese privately owned companies, but still tied back to China.
Fuck China. These fucking people. Not the Chinese people. I would like to. So, we as Americans, we will give the same stipulation that the rest of the world gives about America. We don't hate Chinese people, just your government. And I'm pretty sure that everybody else in the world says the same thing about our country. That is the going theme about America. Most people like
I feel
Americans.
like when you travel abroad, most people don't like Americans.
Nah, I mean, we do have a brother that lives in Germany, and still the consensus is like, no, you guys are pretty cool. You can be dumb, you did elect him, but most people just hate our government. But we are the worst at a lot of things. We can be pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, that's
I don't think we have many French listeners. Let's put it like that.
All right. Well, that's our weekend news. Yeah, that's it. We as always, thank you for listening for another week in news here. We had some book reviews and book interviews released in the last week. There were 2 authors that reached out and were interviewed by Megan for books releasing this week. Tomorrow, as we're recording this, or yesterday as you may be listening to this on Wednesday. But they're great in-depth interviews. Megan does a phenomenal job kind of really getting to the process of the writers and everything else. So if you are a literary person, if you're one of those 40% of people who got interested in reading because of video games, go ahead and pick up one of these books from and listen to the interviews through Megan, read her reviews, see if the books are something that you're interested in. And you can find that all on our podcast players or go to thenerdcantina.com.
Oh, and I got something going on tomorrow I don't think I even told you about. So in our podcast guest group, I signed up to go on a podcast trivia show tomorrow.
Hey-o.
So I will be putting my trivia skills up to the test against 3 other podcast hosts for this other guy. So I don't even know the name of it, to tell you the truth. I want to find that out. We'll hype the actual show on next week's. I'll get all that information. All I know is
if we don't hype the show, it's because Steve lost and he's just ignoring. He's just pretending that it didn't happen.
All I know is some dude was calling out podcast hosts to see who test their trivia skills, and I said, "You son of a bitch, I'm in." And next thing you know, tomorrow at 8:30, I'm gonna test my trivia skills against three other podcast hosts and try to dominate for the Cantina.
All right. Well, if you want to get those results, join us over at the community over at thenerdcantina.com/community, or find us on Facebook, and that'll take you to our closed group. And I'm sure Steve will be bragging over there and posting the link for all to listen. And
man, y'all motherfuckers don't know, but I'm a Jeopardy stud. Jeopardy stud, son.
So we'll see what the results of that are. But in the meantime, thanks again.
Anybody wants to come on and fight me Friday with some Trivial Pursuit cars, I fucking dare you. We can get down, motherfuckers.
Sounds like an enthralling podcast. Right,
thanks for listening, guys. As always, come back next week. We'll have your weekly nerd news.
All right. Talk to you next week, nerds.